How's everybody today? Well, we obviously did a lot of good things in the Ole Miss game. Made a lot of explosive plays, showed resiliency in bouncing back after an opening play that wasn't what we wanted it to be. But I still think that looking at the film, there's a lot of things that we can improve on. I think the most important thing for our team right now is maintain a standard of excellence and not allow outside voices and influences to affect our intensity, our focus on preparation, and understand the importance of maintaining our standard in everything that we do every day. I'd like to congratulate Christian Miller for SEC Defensive Player of the Week. We have a couple guys that might be slowed a little bit in practice today, but nobody with any significant injuries. I think it's important that our players understand that we're playing a really good team this week in Texas A&M. Jimbo's done a really good job there. They've got really good players in a lot of positions on both sides of the ball and special teams. Obviously, that was pretty much the indication when they played Clemson. Probably had arguably a lot of opportunities to win the game, and at the end, it didn't really work out for them. But they're fifth in the country in total offense. Quarterback is playing really, really well, and one of the leaders in our conference in terms of efficiency and effectiveness in passing the ball. They got great balance. The running back, Trayvon Williams, is probably leads our league in rushing. So they have great balance on offense. Their defense has really played well so far, ranked in one of the top 20 in most categories in the country. The punter is really, really outstanding. So this is a really good team that we're playing, the best team that we've played so far, and really going to be important that we do a good job in preparation all week and getting ready for a big game.
Coach, welcome to Ben over here on the right.
Can you ever notice a difference in a team's personality after a coaching change like Texas A&M's had this offseason?
Well, I think everybody that takes over a program is really working hard to establish the principles and values of the organization. The standard that you want people to work to in terms of effort, toughness, intangibles, discipline, things like that. And Jimbo obviously has done a really good job of that. They're a completely different kind of team than they've been in the past. There's a lot of regular. They run the ball. They try to run the ball. Really good play-action passes, but still have a lot of elements of spread, and they're a very effective passing team.
Coach, we'll go in the middle with Michael.
Just wonder, where have you seen progress from Jalen Hurts as a passer this season?
Well, I think Jalen has certainly improved in the pocket. There's no doubt about that. There's never been any question about his arm talent. It's always been, making decisions, choices, second reads, that type of thing, which I think he's really made a lot of improvement on. And I think when he's done those things, he's had really good success. And I think consistency and continuing to do those things is the key to him in the future.
Coach, we'll come back over on the right with Charlie.
What have you seen from both Deonte, Thompson and Xavier McKinney as a duo back there, having to replace guys like Minka and Ronnie?
I think both those guys have played well this year for us. I think they're both playing with a lot of confidence. I think they have better knowledge, understanding. They've now gained a little bit of experience in a couple, 3 games, and I'm pleased with the progress that they've made, and we got to continue to build on that.
Come back over here with Charlie on the right. Oh, you just did. I'm sorry. I got lost here. Chris Walsh.
You obviously faced Jimbo last year. In terms of scheme, does that help you a little bit get a head start? And how similar is what A&M does is it to what Florida State did last year?
Well, I think there's a lot of similarities, technically and, style of what they do. They obviously have different players, and I think one of the things that Jimbo does really well is, feature the talent that he has. They have a really good receiving tight end, and he's been very productive for them. And so he does a good job of utilizing personnel, but systematically, there's a lot of similarities.
Back in the back with Reiner.
When a team like Ole Miss runs a lot of blue personnel, how easy is that for you guys to kind of identify the formation, especially if they don't switch the balance of the formation with motions? And then conversely, how much is A&M different in that regard by throwing out different personnel packages and multiple looks?
Well, it's completely different. Ole Miss was basically in 3 wideouts and a tight end and a back 95% of the time in a game, and I think the multiples of formations are minimized, when you do that. You can be in 2x2, 3x1, empty, or have all the receivers on one side and the tight end on the other, which they didn't really do in the game. So that makes the adjustments a little easier. This team is completely the opposite. They're very multiple in terms of personnel groupings, and lots of formations, motions, adjustments, a lot more similar to when we played Louisville, probably, in terms of, multiples that the defensive players have to adjust to.
Come back over here in front with Mark.
Just where have you seen the biggest improvement for Trayvon Diggs at that starting cornerback spot now?
Well, Trayvon, I think, is a guy that, because we moved him over from receiver, probably took a little bit of time to develop the kind of confidence and understanding exactly what he was supposed to do. And, now he's actually very, very confident and played really well for us. He's also playing some star in some situations in the game, and he's really learned that and made a lot of progress in that regard, which gives us a little more diversity in the back end. So we're pleased with what he's been able to do so far.
Okay, unless we have any more, we got one more here with Tony.
How important has Texas been recruiting-wise, and what has led to your success there in recent years?
Well, we think there's a lot of great high school football players in Texas. There's a lot of great, programs, in the state of Texas. They do a great job of developing players there. I think football is really important in that state, high school football especially. So we have recruited a lot of players. We've had some luck in getting some good players. I think you know who they are. And obviously we're going to continue to recruit that area really hard, and hopefully we'll be able to get some future players that will be able to benefit our program as well.
Coach, we're going to wrap up with one more with Cecil on the back.
Coach, this time last year, this press conference last year, we had a discussion about rat poison, and I was just curious how this year, do you sense that same kind of extraneous distraction, and how has this year's team handled it, if so?
Well, I can't really answer that because I haven't seen the players since the game, but part of the opening statement is the standard of excellence cannot be affected by outside voices in terms of your preparation, your intensity, the level of focus you need to have, because what you did yesterday really doesn't matter. It's what you're going to do today, what you're going to do in the next game. This is like climbing a mountain, The higher you go, the more challenging it gets, and the greater the focus needs to be, and the more treacherous it can be. And this is, the best team that we played so far, so hopefully we'll be able to continue to improve and have the right focus. And so I guess in a different way, trying to be really diplomatic, sort of saying the same thing.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right. Thank you all.